Welcome to the Rick Helps Real Estate Show, where after a while, the little voice in your head says, why am I watching this? Good morning, and happy Tuesday. Yes, I actually checked this stuff out now. I want to make sure I know what day it is, folks. But there's always tomorrow. I can mess it up tomorrow. So welcome. This is the Real Estate Channel, where we go over numbers and data in the Phoenix area real estate market so that you don't have to be out there guessing. You're going to know exactly where the market is, and that makes you a hit at all the cocktail parties. So speaking of numbers, we have 4,452 homes available today. I'm going to take these earbuds off. I hear a little buzz on my end, and it's bugging me. So we have 4,452 homes available today, and our 7-day moving average showed that 4,021 homes came up for sale and 4,063 got gobbled up under contract. Not the sign that we're looking for. I'm still not seeing inventory jump up at all. I'm reading some numbers that say we're getting about 10% more homes come on the market, but not enough to offset how they're getting gobbled up. Buyer traffic's normal or a little bit below normal, actually a little bit above normal, but needless to say, we're not seeing numbers that we want to see. Now, one little fun thing I wanted to talk to you about and show you. You're always hearing me talk about having a good virtual tour in a house so that you can see the house. And I'm shopping for a small travel trailer, and I ran into a virtual tour, and I watched it with this. This is Oculus Quest. These are virtual reality headsets. They're getting sharper. You used to have to put these sensors up on the wall that would follow your body and your arm and stuff. Now they have these sensors built in right here. So these things are only going to get smaller and more efficient and sharper. And what I was able to do was put these on, go to the website that had the Matterport tour, and click on the Matterport tour, and boom, I'm inside this trailer. I'm going to show this trailer to you too. It's kind of neat. Let's see, where am I going here? There we are. So it's got a little Matterport view in VR right there, but it looks like this when I go full screen. You can just tour around this thing. And so when I put on the headset, it was as if I was just standing right there. You're just walking in the door and there you are. And I went and looked at a few houses with that, and I just thought that was pretty slick. It's not like everybody has a VR headset. I do, because 3 of my boys do, and one of them's like a beta tester for everything VR and has a good time. I got to play my oldest son in California a wicked game of ping pong the other night. It is so real, folks, that when the ping pong ball hits your paddle, the paddle actually vibrates, and you feel like you're hitting the ball. And when the ball goes off the table, you actually try to reach down and pick it up. It's that real. The only thing that's not real is the person you're playing on the other side. It's like an avatar. You just have like a robot head, and you get to see the paddle and in the other hand. So it's a scream. It's wild. So I want to thank one of our YouTubers, Joseph, yesterday that pointed out to me an article about rent-to-own communities. And there's a large residential rental project planned in Queen Creek. Now, what these are is they're building these projects, 200 to 300 homes that are only available as rentals to satisfy the need for rentals, because renting isn't always just an apartment complex, and it's not, it's outside of apartment complexes now. You can only get them from individual investors. But these are communities, and they're communities that have a lot of amenities, and I'm going to show you. We can talk a little bit about pros and cons of them, but they're becoming popular. And this one in Queen Creek is going to be a $65 million residential project, and it's going to be down by the Pinal County border. And it says just adjacent is a 450,000 square foot retail center that is currently under development, which will eventually feature a Fry's Supercenter. So they're saying that Queen Creek has actually got a pretty good median income down there. has a median income of 83,000 compared to the median of 58,000 across the rest of the valley. So there's some better incomes down there. I don't know where they're working because it's a rough commute when you get down to South Queen Creek and try to get out. But they're not the only. That's not the only area that they're putting these. Christopher Dodd has sold this community here, developed one in November, and it was the largest build-to-rent housing community in the nation that sold. So it's pretty interesting. This gives you an idea what they look like. So what I didn't know was, I wanted to see some detail on these things and what's it all about. So I went in, and what they're really pushing here, you can see, is just the fact that it's a community, and it's kind of like apartment complexes. And during COVID, all these cool things that they're showing you on here right now, you couldn't use, right? The clubhouse was closed. You couldn't go to the gym. So, but these are gated communities. You're living in small houses instead of apartments. No elevators to take. Good place to have your dog. And what they're finding is that retired folks that want to step down and don't want to take care of a yard and everything are starting to jump into these communities, as are millennials that aren't quite in a position ready to buy a home yet. So they're getting some interest there. So I took a look and I said, well, what are they going for? So I looked at one of these communities up in Happy Valley, which is north up by Peoria, and they only have one available. And it's a 2-bedroom, 2-bath, 965 square feet for almost $2,000 a month. That's a little rich. Interesting though. And when you take a look at these places, they are nice, but it's a different way to find some housing. They've got really nice backyards. Let's see if this one's any different. That's not any different. They have great courtyards. You're not living in an apartment complex where you're running up and down the elevator. So there's pros and cons for that. I watched the video explanation of it where a young man says, I don't see myself ever buying. Well, then you'll never build equity. You'll never get a tax break on your payment. And that $2,000 a month that you're paying right now for a 2-bedroom, it's not going to be long before that's $2,500. So that's the downside. But for people that don't want to be locked down right now, renting's not a bad thing. When you're renting, you have flexibility. So if you're not quite sure where you want to live or how long you're going to live there, renting's a great choice. And now you've got a choice of some communities out there that allow you to rent, and you're not renting an apartment, you're renting a nice house. So they are planning on putting one down in somewhere down in, I think it's the Gilbert area. So now you got one in Gilbert, you've got one in Australia, and then you have one in Happy Valley. And I believe the other one is going to be also, I think, down in Queen Creek. So they're putting them a lot of different places, and you'll have some choices. And they're trying to get a community close to Central Phoenix, and that'd be pretty cool because you don't have a lot of renting opportunities in Central Phoenix. So you can rent these, have a little bit of flexibility, or rent them while you're waiting for your house to be built. Just thought I'd throw that out there, and I want to thank Joseph again just for putting that out there for us. So. We're not seeing many changes in rates. They're kind of staying right where they're at and coming down ever so slightly. A lot of it all depends on economic news and getting control of the virus. So, if that starts to get out of control like it is in other countries, then, we're in deep doo-doo. And when that happens, the bond market's going to go up, rates are going to come down. I think the president tonight, is he giving his State of the Union address to a barely filled Capitol Rotunda? There's just going to be a few folks in there. It's going to be quite unusual to watch that. And, what he says and what he proposes is also going to have an impact on rates. A lot of what he's proposing probably isn't going to see the light of day. I spoke yesterday about, the increase in taxes that was floated. Capital gains taxes. So you don't float something if you're going to do it. You just kind of test the water and go, hey, put this out there and let's see what the reaction is. And it was very negative in the stock market and good for bonds. So if more of that comes tonight, not that I'm an economic major, but you may see a little downward tick in interest rates if people feel that the economy is not going to be taking off and flying around. Right now, there's just so many rumors about what's going to be proposed, how much money is going to be spent, what they're going to do to fix things that I try to ignore most of it. But unfortunately, I'm in the kind of business where I can't ignore most of it, so I have to pay attention. I am seeing more foot traffic in the over 55 communities than I did 2 months ago. 2 months ago, you could go in an over 55 community, you could look at the asking price, boom, you get it, get your offer accepted. No mas, not seeing it now. People are kind of starting to show up. However, there are not as many homes for sale because many of the people that own these homes over 55 have gone back to Minnesota and they're going to list it later. So they'll list it when they come back out to visit. And so, but the bidding and multiple offers is now starting to bubble up in a community that was somewhat insulated. And it's disappointing to see. Now, I have couple that I sold a home to up in Sun City West, and we got it for the asking price. It was fabulous, and it came with furniture. So their original plan when they came down in November was, and this is a great success story, they wanted to sell their house for about $475 north of Seattle, and then come down here and buy something. So they decided they'd come down here and buy, go up and sell it, and then recast their loan after they sell that home. And they were kind of hoping for around $475. Well, lo and behold, they get it on there and they get it on the market for $525. And they had 75 people visit this weekend, and they already had 6 offers yesterday morning, and they're already up to $585. So it's not just happening here. So very good story, very stressful for them trying to figure out what they're going to do. But that's a good story to tell. So if you're thinking about selling up in the Northwest and coming down here, it does not appear to be a problem. But I would like to see bidding wars stop. We got beat out. The other thing I'm seeing is frustrating, and I know my client feels the same way. Seems like every place that you put an offer on now, they don't give you the opportunity to counter. So you put out an offer for $450. They're not calling you and saying, hey, we got somebody that beat you by 5, because they're looking at so many offers that they're just looking at the top 2, and maybe they'll call somebody that's number 2 and say, hey, you got a chance here. But they're throwing everything at it but the kitchen sink. So if you just write an offer right now that's, slightly above the asking price, and it's a typical 30-day close, and you're paying the appraisal, and you don't put appraisal gap language in there, you're dead on arrival. That's what we're discovering. So you're going up against homes that put in escalation clauses. So let's say I'm going to bid $430,000 for a house, and I put an escalation clause that says I will beat every other offer by $1,000 up to $440,000. Well, when you're sitting there as an agent, you're looking at all these offers, you're just going to look at that top price that he's got. You're not really going to play that game of going 1,000 here and then going back. And when you've got several escalation clauses, you need a spreadsheet, and it gets confusing. So all you're going to do is focus on that top number. He said he's going to go up 1,000 past everybody, up to 440. I've already got an offer here for 445, so that escalation clause doesn't mean anything. I've got a quick close. He wants to close in 21 days instead of 30. That's great. They're waiving the appraisal, so if it doesn't appraise, they're going to come up with the money. So, and they're shortening the inspection period to 5 days. In the Northwest, I found out it's popular now for pre-inspections. People are pre-inspecting the house before they put an offer on it. They're doing that so they can go in and put an offer on and waive the inspection because they already had one. That's interesting to see if that's going to start happening down here, but you got to get an inspector in there real quick, and you have to get permission from the home seller to do that. But that would make a sweet offer, wouldn't it? You're writing an offer and saying, I've already inspected it, I'll take it. Our inspection period is 0 days, and we can close in 21 days. We're going to order the appraisal today. So it's more than just price, folks. You've got to sweeten it. You've got to throw everything but the kitchen sink at the offers to even stand a chance in this market. And it's sad. I like the good old days when you could just write an offer and they would send you what was called a counter offer. Nobody's even printing that paper anymore. And they don't even give you a phone call. It's very rare that an agent calls and says, hey, Rick, you got beat out. You want to give your client a chance to meet this? They don't. The buyers are just looking at everything and say, I'll take this one. They're done. So it's rough. I don't like it, but that's the market that we live in right now. So stay tuned, and we will try to keep track of any other tips and tricks that are coming up to help you get your offer accepted, and we'll share it first on this channel. Everybody have a great Tuesday.